Hello everyone, this is the Fifth Epical Revelation Fellowship. I'm Reverend Dr. Roger Paul. This is my wife, Reverend Diane Paul. And tonight we're going to continue on with paper 28, the Ministering Spirits of the Super Universes. And we're on section 6, paragraph 9. And that's on page 315, paragraph 2. Or in the section, it's 2869 in both the Urantia book and the Uversa Press version. And it starts with the imports of time. So let's say a little prayer and we'll get started. You want to pray tonight, dear?
Okay. Dearest Father God, we thank you so much for this day. Thank you for life and being able to walk in these bodies and to live our lives and to know about our eternity, our eternal lives that are evolving as our soul progresses in the ascending progression that you have designed for us so that we can experience greater joy and love and eternal life with you. We thank you for this book that you've given to us, and may we learn it well tonight, and information that we learn tonight, may we pass it on to others. May we be a witness of your love and your peace and your joy, your kindness. We thank you for each other, and thank you for all those who will be listening and watching. Thank you for those that are unable to come tonight, but that hopefully they will be able to view our videos online. We share this and we give thanks and praise you, Father. And it is in your name, Jesus, Christ Michael of Nebadon, that we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay.
You're moving around now.
Am I?
All right.
Well,
I'm getting a video you got.
You're getting video? Well, that's
Hey, just adjusted your glasses.
Yes, that's right. Well, you can actually see it. How about you, Millie? Do you see anything?
Yes, I've got the moving picture. I could not understand anything that Diane said. Your audio was terrible.
Oh, is
Okay.
it? Okay. Her voice, she doesn't speak very. Can you hear me all right, Millie?
Yes.
Okay. She doesn't speak very loud. I'm going to
I
have to
thought it
start
was loud.
poking her.
She was loud enough. I just couldn't understand it. It was all blubbly.
Oh, okay. That may be the quality of yeah.
I thought maybe she was too close to the speaker.
No, because it's way across the room. That's what it is. So.
Okay.
Should I
That
just
was
look
dear.
up and pray instead of looking
Yeah,
down? Maybe
there
that's
we
it.
go. All right, well, we'll try it out, and if it gets real bad, Millie, let me know. We'll try again. Let me try to redial Gio because he's online. I didn't know if we want to join us tonight or not. Oops.
Now, Roger, I didn't mark the page. Did you say page
315.
315.
Number 3?
Yeah, number 3, the import of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you say, Roger, you say 6-9, which means 6th section, and I guess in your book it's marked 9. I have to count 9 paragraphs
Yeah.
to get to it. I
Paragraph
have 2 different books, and neither one of them is going to call that 3 a 9.
Really? Well, under the Uversa Press, see, I take these numbers from, one of them is from the Foundation, and the other is from the Uversa Press website. And that's the numbers they supposedly use to number the paragraphs. And that's why I have them both. I'm working on re-indexing the entire Urantia book. I've been working on it for months now. And it's got the references for both the Foundation and the Uversa Press, so that when we try to have meetings or other people in the future try to teach, they'll have a reference point to start from. Because the Uversa Press books have different page numbers. So
Yeah, I have one that's in 2 columns.
yeah, that's
Sort
a
of written
Uversa.
like the Bible.
Yeah, that's
and it doesn't match what you say either.
Yeah, it's a Uversa Press version. Do you not have reference numbers at the beginning of each paragraph, Millie?
Does that one have it? No.
That you don't have any reference numbers at all? None?
I'd have to get it and look at it.
Oh, okay.
It's so big I rarely use it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
It's
if you
it's
look
got
at
the index and the thing in the back, so it's it's bigger and heavier and clumsier than any of the other books.
oh, okay. Well, these reference numbers are on both the websites, both the Foundation and the Uversa Press. And when I get finished with all the pages, we will have 8 versions of the Urantia book. And oops, I'm getting feedback from you, Millie. Did I lose you both? You still out there, Millie?
Roger, you start echoing really fast.
Yeah, I saw that
Mm-hmm.
on everybody.
Now you might be okay.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Okay. Anyway,
I went and picked up that book. It's got no reference numbers that every paragraph is numbered, but they're not on pages like this one. If I turn to page 315 in this book, wherever it is.
no, it would be paper 28. It wouldn't be the page number in that book. I guarantee.
Paper 28.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this number actually comes from online version.
6,
Yeah.
verse 7,
Yeah.
28, paper 28,
Paper 28, section 6, paragraph 9.
6, the tertiary seconophen. And then, is that what this is? And then the paragraph starting with the import of time.
Right.
M-A-V.
What's the number in front of that?
That's marked 9 and 3. We've got 2 different numbers on it. 9 is the number you called out, 6-9.
Right. Yeah.
But it's also got a 3, which is the 3 in this in
Yeah.
the hardback, the original book.
Right. Yeah.
It's the 3rd section.
Yeah, but it should be 28:6.9. It should be in front of the paragraph. Is that what it's got?
No. It's got
No.
28 in the upper right corner of the page, but it does have 28 at the paragraph. No.
That's actually from
Really?
online, sweetie.
Yeah, I know that, but I thought the new book was actually notated it this way.
This is the one that comes with a DVD by Merritt Horn.
Right.
It's Uversa Press, and it's got a zillion pages in the back of an index,
Yeah.
which makes it even bigger.
Yeah, I've given a lot of those away. I haven't got one as a reference right now, so I can't reference it.
I'm embarrassed to give it to anybody because it's so darn big.
Yeah.
It's big enough to begin with, but when you add another, almost a quarter of the book of index,
Yeah.
it's mind-blowing.
Well, when I get done with the 8 versions we have, we'll have 4 in blue and 4 in white that you can use online, and they all have the references from both Foundation and the Uversa Press websites. So people
Well,
can.
I can go to a website and I can listen to Merritt Horn read it, but
Yeah.
it's different from what I did originally. Originally, I went to that website and the words scroll down the page. I could read the words on the page while he was talking.
So let's start with paragraph 3. You want to start with?
Okay. 3. The import of time. Time is the one universal endowment of all will creatures. It is the one talent entrusted to all intelligent beings. You all have time in which to ensure your survival, and time is fatally squandered only when it is buried in neglect, when you fail so to utilize it as to make certain the survival of your soul. Failure to improve one's time to the fullest extent possible does not impose fatal penalties. It merely retards the pilgrim of time in his journey of ascent. If survival is gain, all other losses can be retrieved.
Okay, so this is that one talent that Jesus talks about in the New Testament, isn't it? We talked about this a little bit last time. That each one of us is given at least one talent, and how we use that talent can be what? Beneficial to the universe and beneficial to God, or we can squander that talent and keep it to ourselves and never do anything for anybody, right? So that's what
Most of us are between being slothful and being Mother Teresa.
that's right. Somewhere between.
Somewhere in there in between.
That's right.
I do not utilize my time totally, all day, every day,
Yeah.
for the advancement of my soul.
That's true. Well, I think I use my time fairly well. I spend probably 8 hours out of my day working on stuff for the Urantia book, indexing and doing things like that. And then when I'm not doing that, I spend it preparing for our meetings and lessons and things like that. So it's a conscious decision. You really have to decide how you want to spend your time. And most people have jobs they have to go to. you know, and do not have time available to do that.
True.
You know.
And I think cleaning the house is important too.
Yeah, all these
Cooking
other
and
things. Yeah.
taking care of our animals.
And serving other people. You know, Millie, look at all the stuff you do for other people and other groups. You use your time pretty well, I would
Yeah.
say. You know, because you're always helping other groups and other folks constantly. And I know Rodney does the same thing. So
Yeah, service is what it's all about.
Yeah.
service is what it's all about. And that's as important as to just doing religious work, but doing service for your fellow man is just as important, you know. So, you know, we all do our part in different ways, but we can't squander that time. That's the whole point of this, is we have to use our time wisely, right? Okay, let's go to the next one. I'll read the next one.
You know what, Roger? I think that also pertains to our life after this planet.
It does.
So, yeah.
It does. You know, people think that we're going to get to the mansion worlds and sit around and play harps and sing all day. They're going to be shocked when it's not going to be that way. You know, they tell us over and over again in this book that life, the mansion worlds, is a continuation of the development of your soul from where you are right now. So your life goes on in the mansion worlds. You interact with people, you have assignments, you do certain types of work. You don't sit around and sing and praise God all day and play a harp and that's all you do, you know. And if you think about it, if that's all you did 24 hours a day when you get to the mansion worlds, that'd get pretty boring, wouldn't it, you know?
Maybe so, maybe so. Although they say they have a hard time making the people stop worship when they get together to worship.
But they
People
also
like doing that.
They also say that there's no monotony once you leave this world. So
it just gets better.
It gets better. You do different things every day. It's a constant learning, improving of oneself and the people around you, right? And
that's what it's supposed to be.
That's what it's supposed to be. That's right. So it's something to look forward to. It really is. Because you think about many people's life on this planet is mundane. You do the same things over and over and over and over again. And many people don't get out of their houses because they're sick or ill. Or some people go to the same job every day, day in, day out, and it's not interesting. They just go, put their time in, they collect a paycheck, right? And that's not the way the mansion worlds work. When you get assigned work in the mansion world, it has a specific purpose. And you start to realize these purposes, and that's what these angels help us do too. So, okay, let's go on to the next paragraph. In the assignment of trust, the counsel of the imports of time is invaluable. Time is invaluable. Time is a vital factor in everything this side of Havona and paradise. In the final judgment before the Ancients of Days, time is an element of evidence. The imports of time must always afford testimony to show that every defendant has had ample time for making decisions and achieving choices. See that?
I think it's strange they use the word defendant.
The defendant, because what are they doing? They're defending your life.
Yeah.
Remember that movie,
yeah,
Defending Your Life?
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You're showing what you did with your time and what benefit you had from helping your fellow man, helping yourself, the whole 9 yards. And that's why they say time is a vital factor in everything this side of Havona and paradise, right? So that's everything in the 7 super universes, all the way to the point where you get to Havona and paradise. Time is a big issue, right? Okay. And I'm sure when we get to the mansion worlds, time becomes much less important to us. Why would that be? Because we're not battling this little bitty short life that we know we're getting to this goal of death, are we, anymore? That goal of death goes away. So our evaluation of how time passes and how we use our time is going to be totally different, right? All right.
That's true.
All right, so let's keep going. Millie, would you take the next one?
Okay. These time evaluators are also the secret of prophecy. They portray the element of time which will be required in the completion of any undertaking, and they are just as dependable as indicators as are the Frandalanks and the
Chronoldex.
Chronoldocs.
Chronoldex, that's right.
chronodex
Yep.
of other living orders. These gods foresee, henceforth they foreknow. But the ascendant authorities of the universe of time must consult the imports of time to be able to forecast events of the future.
Okay, so these evaluators of time are just as reliable as the Frandalanx and Chronodex. What are the Frandalanx and Chronodex? The Frandalanx basically keep track of not only time, but mechanical issues, in essence, involved in running the master universe. Okay, you could think them as force organizers or along that line. And the chronodex keep track of time. That's what they do. They chronologize time. Okay, so that's what
As in chronology.
as in chronology. That's right. They keep track of everything that goes on. Now the Frandalanx can do the same thing, but they also keep track of the mechanical matter and you have to think of them, they're of the order of the mechanical physical controllers. So they have more to do with the mechanical things of things, where the chronodex have to do with the chronological order of things. Okay, so but these evaluators they're talking about here, okay, the imports of time have this same capability of keeping track of time, and it helps them to forecast future events. Okay, now remember these are secondary, or are we tertiary? Yeah, tertiary Sakonafem, right? That's what we're talking about here. These are
Tertiary Sakonafem.
tertiary Sakonafem. That's right. Got off secondary last time.
The time evaluators are the secret of prophecy. What does that mean? They portray the element of time that will be required to accomplish something?
That's right. That's right.
So they can prophesy it'll take you this much time to get to the end of your project?
You got it. You got it. They see the element of time and how much it'll take and what's required for you to do that specific project or undertaking you're taking on, right?
What happens if you take longer?
You get. I guess they give you longer, right? Okay. Okay. Did Lily just read that whole thing? Okay. Rodney, would you take the next one?
Well, sure I will. You will first encounter these beings on the mansion worlds, and they will there instruct you in the advantageous use of that which you call time, both in its positive employment, work, and its negative utilization, rest. Both uses of time are important.
Okay.
And that's interesting, in the physical world, that's what we have is positive and negative.
That's right. Now, we're not talking about positive and negative in the sense of good and bad, are we? Okay, that's not what they're talking about.
Oh.
They're talking about positive and negative as in the sense of opposing forces. Just like when you have a seraphim assigned to you, there's normally a positive seraphim and a negative seraphim, aggressive and a passive. Okay, they're just different. They're opposites of each other. Now, what they're talking about here, the positive employment of work. So this is something you go out and work and you're constantly moving and doing things. The negative part of that is you need rest and refreshments to be able to continue to do that for long periods of time. So it's not only important that you have the energy and the wherewithal for to do the positive work and the employment of work, but it's also just as important that you rest, relax, have humor and things like that so that you feel recharged to be able to go back and do the positive things again.
Well, the thing is, you can't have a yin unless you have a yang.
That's right. It's the yin and yang. If you want to think about it that way, that's a perfect example, really. Okay. Let me take the next one.
4. The solemnity of trust. Trust is a crucial test of will creatures. Trustworthiness is the true measure of self-mastery, character. These Sakonafim accomplish a double purpose in the economy of the super-universes. They portray to all will creatures the sense of the obligation, sacredness, and solemnity of trust. At the same time, they unerringly reflect to the governing authorities the exact trustworthiness of any candidate for confidence of trust.
Skipped up, didn't I? Sorry about that.
You flipped the page while I was finishing.
I've been reading right along. I didn't even change the pages behind me. This folks at home haven't seen any of these, so let me change it right now. I'm slipping tonight.
We had a busy day.
Yeah, we really did. Okay, so let's talk about this. This is the next order of the tertiary Sekanophim. You remember these angels helped those without name and number, those high in authority, and those mighty messengers too. Okay, so they help portray to us the sense of obligation, sacredness, and solemnity of trust. In other words, they help us realize
The value of trust.
the value of trust, right? The trustworthiness. And when we get assigned something, they have to help decide whether we can handle whatever it is that's assigned to us, right? That's part of the trust. Plus, they help us to understand the obligations of what we have to do and the sacredness of what we have to do, right? All work is sacred if you understand how it works into the overall picture of things. Right? You remember when Jesus taught us that there is no work that is not sacred? That's what they're talking about here, right? And that's what these angels help do. Okay? All right, let me change the slide this time so that the folks at home can see what we're reading.
You know, I can actually read that this time.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's great.
I think I can too.
The chart.
Certain part of my glasses.
All right. That's certain part of your glasses. All right. On Urantia, you grotesquely essay to read character and to estimate specific abilities. But on Uversa, we actually do these things in perfection. These Sekanophim weigh trustworthiness in the living scales of unerring character appraisal. And when they have looked at you, we have only to look at them to know the limitations of your ability to discharge responsibility, execute trust, and fulfill missions. Your assets of trustworthiness are clearly set forth alongside your abilities of possible default or betrayal. So, when they look at you and they size you up, okay, they can tell whoever's wanting to assign you to whatever specific task they want you to do, they can tell them whether your character is able to handle the trust that you're given. Now, think about this, y'all. They also can tell them whether there's a possibility of default and betrayal. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Who do we think of in mind when you think about this?
Calgast.
Caligastia, right? Who else? Lucifer. So
They missed it.
they missed, well, not necessarily miss it. These are what? Descending sons of God. So they would not have assigned to them these angels. You see?
That's true.
Because they're a different order of the sons of God. Unlike mortals, when we go up the scale, we're constantly what? Supervised in a sense, where the descending sons of God are given more freedom to rule the way they're supposed to. But it makes you wonder, if they would have had the use of these angels, would they have predicted the default or the betrayal of Lucifer and Caligastia?
Well, do you remember that they mentioned that there was some concern?
There was concern in the mind of what? Lucifer about his attitudes, right?
Exactly.
There was the possibility.
That's right. That's right. So even on that level, they can foresee these things happening, but do they actually have these angels assigned to them? We don't know, do
No.
we? We really don't. But I thought that was an interesting point.
It is.
All right. Let's go on to the next one. I keep my mice straight again tonight. I'll be doing all right. Okay. Millie, would you take the next one, dear?
It is the plan of your superiors to advance you by augmented trust just as fast as your character is sufficiently developed to gracefully bear these added responsibilities. But to overload the individual only courts disaster and ensures disappointment. And the mistake of placing responsibility prematurely upon either man or angel may be avoided by utilizing the ministry of these infallible synchronophem over infallible I missed a line. Infallible estimators of the trust capacity of the individuals of time and space. These synchronophem ever accompany those high in authority, and never do these executives make assignments until their candidates have been weighed in the seraphic balances and pronounced not wanting.
Okay, couple things on this paragraph we need to remember here. It talks about this placing responsibility prematurely upon man or angel. Do you see that? So these angels not only work for man, but they work for other angels also, don't they? That looks like that's what they're saying here. Okay, and they always accompany those high in authority, right? Right here, right? When they go out and try to make assignments. And so that they weigh your personality and what you have going on in your specific life, and they have to pronounce you what? Not wanting in any aspect before they assign you to something. So if you get get to the first mansion worlds and you want to get assigned to do something, and they assign one of these to you and find you find you wanting in some aspect, they're doing this for what? Your own good, because they don't want you to be disappointed and basically make you feel like you did not withhold your responsibilities, right? And they will not assign you to something that you're not prepared to do. Okay? It's a good checkpoint anyway, right?
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
That's right. All right. Rodney, would you take the next one?
Number 5, the sanctity of service. The privilege of service immediately follows the discovery of trustworthiness. Nothing can stand between you and opportunity for increased service except your own untrustworthiness, your lack of capacity for appreciation of the solemnity of trust.
So it's really how much trustworthiness you have, whether you will be assigned to the service you would like to do, right? Okay, and that's what these angels called the sanctity of service do. Oh, I forgot to change again. I'm slipping
Yeah,
to this.
I was going to tell you. We need to change this.
Y'all have to. Here we go. I forgot twice, didn't I? Sorry, folks at home. I'm slipping tonight.
I'll try and remind you.
Okay.
Not that I can see it.
We had a busy day today. Diane had to have a new heater put in her house. So,
It would be furnace.
furnace, yeah. Okay.
Service. Purposeful service, not slavery, is productive of the highest satisfaction and is expressive of the divinest dignity. Service, more service, increased service, difficult service, adventurous service, and at last divine and perfect service is the goal of time and the destination of space. But ever will the play cycles of time alternate with the service cycles of progress. And after the service of time there follows the super service of eternity. During the play of time you should envision the work of eternity, even as you will during the service of eternity. Reminisce the play of time.
So the play and the service are just as important to each other, aren't they? Okay, so it's a balancing scale, isn't it? But the point is what Jesus taught us over and over and over again, and that is what? Service
to others.
That's right, and more service to others, right? That's what life is about, is the service aspect of life.
Wash their feet.
That's right. Okay, let me change this one here. I'm having trouble getting this to this tonight. Okay. All right. The universal economy is based on intake and output. Throughout the eternal career, you will never encounter monotony of inaction or stagnation of personality. Progress is made possible by inherent motion. Advancement grows out of the divine capacity for action. And achievement is the child of imaginative adventure. But inherent in this capacity for achievement is the responsibility of ethics, the necessity for recognizing that the world and the universe are filled with a multitude of differing types of beings. All of this magnificent creation, including yourself, was not only made just for you. This is not an egocentric universe. The gods have decreed it is more blessed to give than receive. And said your master son, he who would be greatest among you, let him be server of all. Right? Okay. Now, a couple things in this paragraph that's very important. The monotony of inaction or stagnation of personality. Does that not describe some of the people you know on this planet?
It describes our present.
Yeah, it does. So, that's what this watches for. As we get to the mansion worlds, this is not allowed any longer. Okay? So we don't have monotony and inaction once we get to the mansion worlds. You're assigned specific tasks and you're expected to do it. Right? And you're given all the capacity to be able to fulfill those tasks, and they do not give you things you are not capable of doing. Right? Okay? But it's not an egocentric universe. Okay? And the whole universe is based on what? The fatherhood of God, the brotherhood of man. Right? Service, service, and more service. You know, these are the lessons that Jesus tried to teach us. It's so amazing reading the first part of this book like this, how much, when we go to the life of Christ, rings right from the beginning of the book, doesn't it? You know, they taught us these things in the beginning of the book, so that when we read the life of Christ, this stuff comes alive, doesn't it? He's constantly talking about these things. Okay, let's keep going. All right, Millie, would you take the next one?
The real nature of any service, be it rendered by man or angel, is fully revealed in the faces of these saccharific service indicators. The sanctities of service, the full analysis of the true and of the hidden motives is clearly shown. These angels are indeed the mind readers, the heart searchers, and soul revealers of the universe. Mortals may employ words to conceal their thoughts, but these high Sakonafim lay bare the deep motives of the human heart and of the angelic mind.
So you can't fool these guys, can you?
Now it's saying the human heart, that's only on Earth, obviously.
Yeah, but not only on Earth, Rodney, but when you leave Earth and go on to the first mansion worlds, because they do this not only for mortals, but they do it for angels too.
So what I'm saying is that human heart, when we're on the mansion worlds, we're not considered human then, right?
No, well, no, but we are considered of human origin.
Yeah, the mark of the beast.
The mark of the beast. And when they say the human heart, what they're talking about, they're not talking about your physical human heart. They're talking about your
true motive.
Yeah, your soul, basically. You know, your so we were just talking about this the other day. Your origin, the significance of origin, right? That's what they're talking about here. You can't hide where you came from once you get there, because they read your mind and bear your soul.
Right? There ain't no fooling around.
They ain't no fooling around. That's right. You know, you can't fool them. All right.
Sanctities of service.
Wait a minute.
That's what they're called?
Yeah. Yeah. The sanctities of service. Did I skip over one there?
No, you were on it before.
Oh, okay. I'm going the wrong direction. Okay, here we go. All right. Who read that?
It's Rodney's.
Rodney, would you take the next one?
Why surely. 6 and 7. The secret of greatness and the soul of goodness. The ascending pilgrims having awakened to the import of time, the way is prepared for the realization of the solemnity of trust and for the appreciation of the sanctity of service. While these are the mortal elements of greatness, there are also the secrets. There are also secrets of greatness. When the spiritual test of greatness are applied, the mortal elements are not disregarded, but the quality of unselfishness revealed in disinterested labor for the welfare of one's earthly fellows, particularly worthy beings in need and in distress, that is the real measure of planetary greatness. And the manifestation of greatness on a world like Urantia is the exhibition of self-control. The great man is not he who, quote, takes a city or, quote, overthrows a nation, but rather, quote, he who subdues his own tongue.
Boy, a preacher could spend a week on this one.
Yeah, well, you know, a
paragraph.
lot of this is in the Bible, actually.
It is, you know. I mean, it's talking about things that make us great human beings and make us great spiritual beings, right? For instance, it talks here, and you can almost miss this if you're not very careful. It says, but the quality of unselfishness revealed in disinterested labor to the welfare of one's earthly fellows. What are they talking about that? Disinterested labor. That means you're doing this labor for the sole purpose of helping someone, not for anything that you're going to get from it, right?
Exactly. You know, that's the whole gist of it right there.
That's the whole gist of it. It's not that you're going to benefit financially. It's not that it's going to make you look good. It's not because you're going to get an ego boost from it. It's not because somebody's going to come along and say, you're such a good person, you help everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, this is a great paragraph.
It really is. This is disinterested labor, right? And that's why they call this the secret of greatness and the soul of goodness. This is the way we should serve our fellow man. We can learn all kinds of lessons from this, right? And then they go on to say, particularly worthy beings in need and in distress, and in the real measure of it is the real measure of planetary greatness. So it's how much we help those in need and those on our planet that are in distress and need a helping hand, doesn't it? It comes back to service, service, and no more service, right? And then it goes on to say the manifestation of greatness on a world like Urantia is the exhibition of self-control. How many times have we seen men come into authority over other people, especially politics, and they get the big head syndrome, don't they? You know, oh, I'm so great. I have done this and I have done that. And they want everybody to put money in their pocket, don't they? You know, the payola scheme. Boy, America is run on payola, isn't it? Okay, and then it goes on to say, a man, the great man, and is not the one who takes a city or overthrows a nation, but rather he who subdues his own tongue. What are they talking about that? It's not those that start boasting on themselves. It's not those that get a benefit from helping people, is it? But it's those who do it without any physical reward, right? Because what? If you get the reward on this planet, do you think you're going to get any reward in the mansion worlds?
Well, not to expect a reward.
That's right. You got the whole point of the whole thing right there, Rodney. That's right. That's
Yes,
exactly right.
there's no reason to expect it.
You don't do it expecting reward, do you?
No, not even.
He who subdues his own tongue. He does not brag upon himself. He does not tell others what a great guy he is for doing things, right? He does not go on and say, oh, those poor pitiful people, they needed this and they needed that, and of course I helped them out, right? He subdues his tongue. He learns how to keep quiet. He does it for the joy and the spiritual reward of helping and serving, right?
Yeah, the love of one's fellow
The
man.
love of one, the brotherhood of man is what it's all about, isn't it, Rodney? That's what
Yeah.
they're talking about here. You know, that's so easy to miss. All right, let me hit this up here. I'm doing better now. I'm remembering. All right, dear, you want to take the next one?
Greatness is synonymous with divinity.
Sorry, did you change your thing behind you?
Yeah, I did. The greatness. Yeah, I sure did.
Greatness is synonymous with divinity. God is supremely great and good. Greatness and goodness simply cannot be divorced. They are forever made one in God. This truth is literally and strikingly illustrated by the reflective interdependence of the secret of greatness and the soul of goodness, for neither can function without the other. In reflecting other qualities of divinity, the super-universe Sakonophan can and do act alone, but the reflective estimates of greatness and of goodness appear to be inseparable. Hence, on any world, in any universe, must these reflectors of greatness and of goodness work together, always showing a dual and mutually dependent report of every being upon whom they focalize. Greatness cannot be estimated without knowing the content of goodness, while goodness cannot be portrayed without exhibiting its inherent and divine greatness.
Now, do you see why they made this 6 and 7 together?
Right.
They're inseparable, aren't they?
Yeah.
They work as one unit. You cannot have greatness without goodness, and you cannot have goodness without what? Greatness, right? So they can't even reflect this down to the super universe without having the other there, right? That's how inseparable they are. It's amazing to me they even list them separately because they're so interdependent of one another, right? All right. Okay. Did I? Hang on. Hang
I've
on.
got this next
You were
paragraph
backwards.
marked.
Am I?
I,
Oh, did I go backwards on that one? It's hard to see that over there when I change it. Hang on. Y'all, hang on just 1 second. There we go. All right. Am I up? The estimate of greatness varies from sphere to sphere. To be great is to be godlike. And since the quality of greatness is wholly determined by the content of goodness, it follows that even in your present human estate, if you can through grace become good, you are thereby becoming great. The more steadfastly you behold and the more persistently you pursue the concept of divine goodness, the more certainly will you grow in greatness and in true magnitude of genuine survival character. And this paragraph brings one thing to mind.
evident as survival.
Survival.
Me.
You know what it really stands out in my mind, though, is when Jesus was called good. You remember that? And he says, "Why do you call me good?" You remember that in the New Testament? Right? Okay. This is directly related to that because he was so good and humble, he refused to recognize his own goodness. Because why? That would make him great.
Why
Right?
do you call me good?
What would you say, Rodney?
He would ask, why do you call me good?
Why do you call me good? That's right. That's right. But he understood what this was about, didn't he?
Well,
Right?
very much so.
Very much so. And you see how this first part of the book relates to the stories in the last part of the book, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Okay? And it goes on to say in this paragraph, even in your present human estate, if you can through grace become good, you're thereby becoming grace. So even as human beings, we can start developing and honing our skills to do this, can't we? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Millie, if you will take the first paragraph of the next one, we'll keep going.
Number 7, this ministry of the Seconophem. The Seconophem have their origin and headquarters on the capital of superuniverses, but with their liaison fellows, they range from shores of paradise to the evolutionary worlds of space. They serve as valued assistants to the members of the deliberative assemblies and of the supergovernments, and are great help in the courtesy colonies of Uversa. The star students, millennial tourists, celestial observers, and a host of others, including the ascendant beings in waiting for Havona transport. The ancients of days take pleasure in assigning certain of the primary Seconophem to assist the ascending creatures domiciled on the 490 study worlds surrounding Uversa. And here also do many of the secondary and tertiary orders serve as teachers. These Uversa satellites are the finishing schools of the universes of time, presenting the preparatory course for the 7 circuited universes of Havona.
So y'all imagine this. We're talking about Uversa, the headquarters of the super universe. And there's 490 planets surrounding this. Okay?
Hey.
490 planets. Okay? And these secondary Seconophem help teach these pilgrims that are waiting to go on to what? The first Havona circuit, right? They train them and prepare them for what's coming in the future, right? What a wonderful concept. 490 worlds of these things, you know? They don't miss a lick, do they? In anything. It just amazes me. Every time I read this book, I get more and more amazed at the organization that's prepared us, you know, for the universes. Okay. Rodney, would you take the next one?
Of the 3 orders of Seconophem, the
Tertiary.
tertiary group attached to the ascendant authorities administer most extensively to the ascendant creatures of time. You will, on occasion, meet them soon after your departure from Urantia, though you will not freely make use of their services until you reach the terrible worlds of Orvanton. You will enjoy their companionship when you become fully acquainted with them during your sojourn on the Uversa world.
So all 3 of these groups you'll become well established with on these 490 worlds, won't you? When you get to the world, these worlds of that surround Uversa.
There's so much to look forward to.
Really.
There is so much; it's almost unbelievable, isn't it?
When you meet these people, you've got to remember who they are, too.
That's right. Well, hopefully we'll have a better mind than we have on this world.
I hope
You
so.
know, we learn this and then we forget it in 3 weeks, so we have to learn it again, right?
Am I going to get a new mind?
You're going to get a brand new mind, and it's like a sponge. You don't lose things in it anymore.
Consider.
I'm looking forward to that.
That'll be great.
All right, we'll take the next one.
Big hard drive.
These tertiary Seconophem are the time savers, space abridgers, error detectors, faithful teachers, and everlasting guideposts, living signs of divine surety, and mercy placed at the crossroads of time, there to guide the feet of
Anxious pilgrims.
I feel anxious.
Yeah.
Feet of anxious pilgrims in moments of great perplexity and spiritual uncertainty. Long before attaining the portals of perfection, you will begin to gain access to the tools of divinity and to make contact with the techniques of deity. Increasingly, from the time you arrive on the initial mansion world until you close your eyes in the Havona sleep preparatory to your paradise transit, you will avail yourself of the emergency help of these marvelous beings, who are so fully and freely reflective of the sure knowledge and certain wisdom of those safe and dependable pilgrims who have preceded you on the long journey to the portals of perfection.
So they do this over and over and over and over again for
millions
for millions of beings that pass through these worlds waiting to go on to the 7 circuits of Havona, right? What a wonderful ministry they have.
That's a wonderful ministry.
Yeah. We are denied the full privilege of using these angels of the reflective order on Urantia. They are frequent visitors to your world, accompanying assigned personalities, but here they cannot freely function. This sphere is still under partial spiritual quarantine, and some of the circuits essential to their services are not here at present. When your world is once more restored to the reflective circuits concerned, much of the work of interplanetary and inter-universe communication will be greatly simplified and expedited. Celestial workers on Urantia encounter many difficulties because of this functional curtailment of their reflective associates, but we go on joyfully conducting your affairs with the instrumentalities at hand, notwithstanding your local deprivation of many of the services of these marvelous beings, the living mirrors of space and the present projectors of time. Okay, I want to get on everybody's bad side tonight that's listening. Okay? This book is written for the next 1,000 years. Okay, this revelation. Now, why do you think they would tell us that we're still in spiritual quarantine if they would lift it 50 years after they give us the book? Not likely, is it?
Wait. What was the question? I'm sorry.
I would say I was saying this, Rodney. This revelation, the 5th epical revelation of God to man, is the Urantia book, right? And it's supposed to be good for 1,000 years, at least 1,000 years. Okay, that's what we've been told. Why would they tell us about being spiritually quarantined, okay? Partially spiritual quarantine, and then we have people running around telling everybody that the quarantine's been lifted, right? I don't believe that's the case. I don't believe it would happen that quickly.
In other words, you're saying that if this book is good for 1,000 years, then quarantine is obviously going to be on for another 500 years.
Probably, at least, I would think. Or even longer, Rodney. We don't know. We, as human beings, want to speed things up because we have such short lives, don't we? And I keep saying, I see it on the internet and everywhere else, you know, that we're not under quarantine anymore and all this stuff. I say poppycock. It's been too soon. This has only been 50 years since we got this revelation, right? Actually, from 1934, you know, it's more like 80 years, right? So, or close to 80 years. But do you think they would have told us this in this book, and then 50 to 60 years later the quarantine get lifted that quickly? Not likely. Not likely at all. More than likely, this is going to be something that'll go on to several hundred years, and several hundred years to the celestial beings is what?
No.
Like nothing. It's a second in time.
Yeah, we could be in a quarantine for another 1,000 years.
We could be. We don't know. But we have this group of people going around telling us we have a communication with all these beings outside of us, and everybody's channeling all these beings from other universes and all this stuff. And we can't prove or disprove any of this, can we?
No, we can't.
The thing the thing I can hang my hat on is what? This revelation. This blue book. Because we know that it was revealed and checked and rechecked and checked again, wasn't it? Okay? We were given a revelation, and we need to learn what's in this before we go on to something else. This is our primer. This prepares us for the mansion worlds, right? We don't need anything but this right now. Other things are coming. I'm fine with waiting until I get to the mansion world to find out anything outside this book. That's the way I feel about it. Okay? Call me a fanatic. I don't care.
You're a fanatic.
I'm a fanatic, right?
So am I.
You are a fanatic, but so am I, Roger.
I am too.
You know, that's the way I feel about
But
it.
I am.
But what it,
Actually,
the whole
really
point
good.
of this is this. I question everything because I see what's in this book and I've learned what's in this book, and it's taught me to question everything, right? That's what it's all about. So anyway, that's what I wanted to bring out about this paragraph. It goes to all this effort to tell us that the celestial workers on our planet have a difficult time because of this partial spiritual quarantine, don't they?
it's for understanding.
And it's understandable. So, you know, I'm not going to discount what they're saying here just because somebody comes along and says, I heard from, you know, I actually talked to Melchizedek last night, you know. So, and that's the name of that tune. And I knew we were getting close to the end here, and I just wanted to say that. And this is sponsored by a mighty messenger of Uversa. Now, let's have just a minute of where we're at and where we're going, okay? We have covered all of the ministering spirits of the infinite spirit, haven't we? Except for the Sakana right? So next time we're going to start on paper 113, go to 114, and then we will have finished everything on the Don Estes chart of the ministering spirits. Okay? Okay? You remember, Rodney, when we talked about this? I said I was going to go all the way through the ministering spirits before we quit on this. And so after we do 13 and 14, we will have finished all the ministering spirits. And
That's
at
great.
that point we'll decide what direction we want to go next. Okay? Now, this Sunday is the fourth Sunday, so we will have a meeting at the house here again. And this Sunday we will be covering paper number 4, God's relation to the universe, I believe it is, paper number 4. So y'all, please come if you can. I would love to have you. And then next week we'll take it up with paper 113. Okay.
So, okay, Roger, you're saying this Sunday at what time?
At 11 o'clock. We're going to go from 11 to 1 like we used to on our old meetings, and still starting at 1 though. I'm going to start at 11 and we'll go to 1. Okay? And
Now, you're asking on Skype, though, right?
no, we're going to actually have that at the house here. We're not going to have that on Skype on Sunday. And actually we will not have Skype on Sunday because it's too difficult for me to, since in the living room it's too difficult for me to take care of it across the room and be...
Right, I remember you telling me.
Yeah. So we're just going to have it in the living room this Sunday. And I'm hoping many people will come. I'm hoping y'all can make it this Sunday. I know it's kind of short notice, but I lost track of time thinking it's a short month this month. I thought I had another Sunday, but we didn't.
So the next Sunday after that is the 2nd of March.
Yeah, it is. And Diane pointed that out to me right before the meeting tonight. So I was like, oh my, yeah, we got a meeting. So I'm going to send out the meeting notice right after I get offline here tonight. So that everybody will know that it's coming. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Let's say a little prayer and then I'll stop the video and we'll sign off for tonight. Okay. Rodney, would you like to close for us tonight with a little prayer?
Sure. Heavenly Father, there's so much to be thankful for, and we're thankful for this revelation that was sent to us. And we're thankful for the contribution of Roger and Diane to administer this to us, and for us to understand this revelation more. And Father, we think about the needy people of this world, and all things are good, and all in your name, in Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Folks, thank you for joining us. Please come see us again. Hope to see you next week.